Okay, so Wolves play Tottenham in the Carabao Cup against Nuno in kind of what feels like part two of the Premier League game from about a month ago. And I think this is a huge game for Wolves. I think this is an absolute kind of must-win game. I'm not really putting any pressure on the side so far. It's very early on in the season. I don't really care that we're not getting results because I like what I see. However, this is cup football. It's knockout football, and although Tottenham are a big club, they're not playing very well. If you look at the Premier League table based on, I know people hate expected points and these sort of metrics, but Tottenham are fifth bottom. Like they've been one of the worst sides in the Premier League this season, and they've got luck that's on their way, and obviously we haven't. But this is a big chance for Wolves. Obviously, we know Nuno never prioritises the cups anyway. It's something he never does, and obviously he's under a lot of pressure at Tottenham right now. But I don't think that'll change the way Nuno thinks. We saw that last season when he kind of rotated his whole 11 in the Carabao against, in the FA Cup against Southampton. So this is a very winnable game for us. I put my lineup on screen here. I'd still change a lot of things. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say they'd play with back four, and I completely understand why. But for me personally, I'd love to see Bolly and Mosquera and Eight Nuri and Hoover in a back four, but it feels like a lot to change the whole defensive structure and the whole back line. And as much as I don't rate Tottenham and don't think they're very good, they do have elite attackers who will finish chances if they get them in Kane, Son, Bergwijn, etc. So I think it's very risky to change the whole defensive structure. I would swap out the wing backs. I think this is an audition for Eight Nuri. Marcel cost us the game for me on Saturday against Brentford. Everyone was blaming Raul Jimenez, and I kind of did a video explaining why I don't really think Raul Jimenez was to blame for that. But I think Marcel was the big issue in that game. So an Eight Nuri's got a chance to take that spot now. I bring in Jess Mosquera and Willy Bolly. I think Willy Bolly's probably better on the left side anyway, so I play him there. As much as I think Connor Cody's limited, you kind of want his experience if you're going to change the whole back four around him. And I'm excited to see Jess Mosquera play, and I think he'll be better in a back five. His pace will help Connor Cody and Keanu Herver. I'd keep Jose Sarr in goal. I've never really understood this whole resting the goalkeeper thing for the Carabao Cup. I think it's stupid, especially we're not going to get relegated this season. If you look at just the normal Premier League table, obviously we're just above the relegation zone, but we're not going to get relegated. I think everyone agrees with that. So this is a big game. This is a big competition for us. So I'd give it to Jose Sarr. And that's just personally what I'd do. I'd bring Dendoncker in purely just for rotation and Giamantino's age. I don't rate Dendoncker at all. I think he's a very limited midfielder, and I think he doesn't really offer anything on the ball, and he's not the most press resistant. And Tottenham actually do press quite a lot. They're the third best pressing side behind Brentford, which does concern me considering how well Brentford pressed us. Although if you look at how good their pressures are, they're actually really low. Although they have the third most pressures, if you look at the percentage of how accurate and how good those pressures are, they're actually the worst. So I'd kind of just trust Dendoncker to play that role next to Neves, and then I'd switch at the whole front three as well. There's a part of me that wants to play Raul just to kind of get him a goal, but I rate Fabio Silva and I trust him to play up front. And personally, I'd like to see Podence. Obviously, you could just play Podence and hang out wide, but I would kind of like to see Podence drop into that kind of hole in front of the midfield, just because Tottenham are playing a diamond recently under Nuno. And it does concern me that Dendoncker and Neves could get outrun by Ollie Skip and Pierre Moibier. So I think it would be interesting to see Podence kind of not drop into a midfield, but kind of just be a bit deeper, right? Plus, I trust Eight Nuri to not need someone tracking him back right on that side. And although Spurs do press, they're not good at it. So I trust those three to make up the midfield numbers. And this is a big game for a lot of players. I think Bruno Lage will have to kind of sell this as a game where, look, the first team were bad against Brentford in the second half. There's places to be won, and obviously Cody and Neves are never going to get dropped, not for Jose Sarr. But every other position in that 11 is kind of up for doubt. Maybe not Nelson Semedo, but Eight Nuri, Podence, and Hwang especially for me, and obviously Willy Bolly as well. Those first team places are up for grabs, and they should be 100%. Let's say we keep a clean sheet in this game, win that game, Bolly's in straight away for me. Eight Nuri straight in for me. And probably one of Daniel Podence and Hwang instead of Trincao for the weekend against Southampton, which will be a difficult game. So this game feels more important than it probably is. Wolves not have to win this game, but the Carabao Cup should be a priority. Tottenham aren't as good as people think they are, and as big as their money is, they're not representative of that right now on the pitch. and we're playing them at the right time. There's pressure on them right now. Nuno doesn't really handle pressure that well. You know, we've seen that at Wolves before, and he doesn't care about the cups. So this should be a must-win game. We should put pressure on this game. I don't care if, you know, if you look at the fixtures, if we lost to Brentford, that's fine. If we lose to Southampton, it's okay. I can kind of understand, but this is a knockout game, and you know, it's kind of, I think everyone wants to see us take that next step, and we know we're not going to get top 7, and that's fine. But the cup should be our priority, and although I'm kind of contradicting myself by rotating most of the side, I think this is the right time to rotate. We all know Nuno's going to rotate. We know that Kane and Son won't play, and his big players won't play. So, and I trust our second string. I trust Ray and Nuri. I trust Daniel Pedence. I trust Hwang Yi-chan. And I think it'd be really interesting to see if we play in the same way with the so-called second string. But personally, I think we'll win this game. I'm actually really confident. I don't rate Nuno's Tottenham at all. I think we're better than them, and I trust the second string. Assuming this is what Bruno Lage does, obviously, maybe he'll just go full strength again. But I don't rate Tottenham, and I think, I'm not saying this will be an easy win, but assuming Nuno does rest the side and doesn't really care about this, we should be winning this game. And this, for me, this is the first game where I'd put actual pressure on Bruno Lage to get a result. But hopefully it goes our way. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video. There'll be a reaction after the game, as always. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, and peace.